Welcome to World News Program, coming to you live from Algiers on All24 News. And up next are today's top stories. Almost 42,000 martyrs and nearly 100,000 wounded in Gaza since the start of the Zionist aggression. Qassam continues to release footage of ambushes on occupation forces ahead of Al-Aqsa flood anniversary. Huge explosions rock area near Beirut airport. Lebanon death toll nears 2,000 martyrs, and Hezbollah repels occupation forces and inflicts losses among its soldiers. Also in our news, Zionist occupation bombs Damascus again as Iran threatens to respond. International bodies warn of economic repercussions from Middle East escalation. And de Mistura arrives in Western Sahara and visits Sahrawi refugee camps. More details are right after the break. Hello again and welcome back to the program. First, in our top stories, at least 99 Palestinians were killed and 169 others injured in 8 new attacks on the Zionist or on Gaza Strip within 24 hours. The Palestinian Ministry of Health in Gaza announced Thursday that the death toll has risen to 41,788 with 96,794 wounded since the Zionist aggression began on October 7th. Medical sources announced on Thursday that the death toll in Gaza Strip has risen to 41,788, the majority being children and women. The same sources reported that the number of injured has reached 96,794 Palestinians. Additionally, the Palestinian Health Ministry said on Thursday that at least 20 Palestinians were killed in a Zionist strike on the Tulkarm refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. Al-Qassam brigades broadcasted footage of a complex ambush against occupation forces in the Fakhari area east of Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. The footage shows military vehicles engulfed in flames and Al-Qassam fighters seizing military equipment during the Zionist forces' incursion.
اليوم من هذا المكان الطيب المبارك نفأر لكل شهدائنا الأبرار لكي يعلم العالم كله أن غزة ومجاهديها الأبطال لا ينسون من وقف بجانبهم.
UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric announced that the organization is set to launch a second vaccination campaign for around 640,000 children in Gaza against polio in mid-October. Dujarric also stated in a press release on Wednesday that nutritional supplements will be distributed along the vaccinations. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas confirmed on Thursday that the ongoing Zionist aggression has destroyed over 90% of Gaza's infrastructure. In his speech at the third summit of the Asian Cooperation Dialogue in Doha, Abbas warned that the region faces significant dangers due to occupying Israel's continued violence, which has claimed the lives of tens of thousands of children, women, and the elderly.
This summit is being held at a time when our region is facing great risks on account of the insistence of the Israeli occupation authority to continue its policy of aggression and violence, as our Palestinian people, including the athletes, as well as the brotherly Lebanese people, are subjected to an Israeli barbaric genocidal war that claimed thousands of victims, including children, women, and the elderly. The ongoing Israeli aggression has destroyed more than 90% of infrastructure in the Gaza Strip, including sports facilities.
Similarly, the Palestinian president called on the international community to urgently intervene to stop the barbaric aggression against Palestine and Lebanon. He emphasized that the state of Palestine is committed to fully ending the occupation.
The international community must immediately intervene to stop this barbaric aggression against Palestine and Lebanon. Leaders and heads of delegations, the state of Palestine seeks to break free from occupation, colonialism, and put an end to the Israeli occupation in the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and East Al-Quds until the complete eradication of the occupation in the Palestinian territory with Al-Quds as its capital.
The Palestinian group Youth Against Elements won the 2024 Right Livelihood Award, also known as the Alternative Nobel Prize in Stockholm on Thursday. Ola von Exkull, director of the Right Livelihood Foundation, announced that the group was honored for their steadfast resistance to Israeli occupation and their promotion of Palestinian civil work through peaceful means, leaving a significant impact both locally and globally.
Right now.
We start with the latest updates on Lebanon, where huge explosions shook the sky in the vicinity of the Lebanese capital near Beirut's main airport in the early hours of Wednesday. This was minutes after the landing of an airplane, as was seen in the footage of the incident. The images show the sky of the Lebanese capital lit up with explosions. The Zionist strikes targeted residential buildings and destroyed them completely. According to security sources, the Zionist raids are the biggest on Lebanon so far. Lebanese caretaker Health Minister Firas Abiad announced that the death toll from the Zionist aggression on Lebanon has risen to 1,974, with 9,384 wounded since October 8th. In a press conference on Thursday, Abiad stated that 127 children were among those killed by the Zionist occupation shelling. He warned that the death toll is expected to rise as the Zionist ground incursion into the southern governorates continues for the fourth consecutive day.
So far, the total death toll since the beginning of the aggression amounts to 1,974 martyrs, including 127 children and 261 women. As for the wounded, up till now, 9,384 wounded have been recorded and are under treatment. These figures were recorded at dawn today.
The Lebanese Minister of Health reported that 97 medical personnel have been murdered due to Zionist attacks on health centers. Firas Abiad stated that over 10 hospitals have been damaged and warned that occupying Israel aims to destroy Beirut's health sector, dismissing claims of weapons in hospitals as a pretext for attacks. He called on the international community to respond to the aggression. Hezbollah announced that it has repelled Zionist elite forces' attempts to advance on multiple fronts in southern Lebanon since dawn on Thursday. The group stated that the confrontations using various weapons inflicted heavy losses on occupation forces, confirming that their strikes have thwarted any Zionist incursions into Lebanese territory. Hezbollah confirmed that the number of Israeli occupation soldiers killed on Thursday has reached 17, including officers. In a statement, the party's operations room cited reliable field and security sources for this figure, noting that occupation forces reported the death of another officer, a captain in the 202nd Battalion of the paratroopers, during clashes in southern Lebanon on Wednesday. Lebanese people feel endangered everywhere they are, especially in Beirut, which is already marked by past tensions and conflicts. After Zionist strikes on Thursday, many fear unsafe and afraid of a new escalation. Marwa Belaur has more.
Over 1 million Lebanese have been displaced fleeing Zionist bombings in the south. The escalation since September 23rd has upended their lives, forcing them to abandon everything and seek safety amid growing fear.
We are people used to war. We are afraid, of course, but not to the point of leaving our homes. What can we do? We have gotten used to it. May God protect us. We hope things will improve and that people can return to their homes.
Many of these refugees displaced in the past with their parents are now fleeing with their own children. For them, it's a recurring cycle of fear and uncertainty.
We are afraid, for sure. The Zionist enemy is striking everywhere. We are displaced from the south. I remember when I was a child, my mother, when we were displaced before, took us to a school in Zaidaniya for days. I raised my children while fleeing, and I'm raising my grandchildren while fleeing. I have spent my life fleeing. My life is nearing its end, and I'm here dying. I would rather die in the south. We all die anyway. Life comes to an end.
Of course, there is fear. Everything is getting worse. The country is damaged. It was already in bad shape. And now it's even worse. Nothing is getting better. It used to be much better than it is now. We don't know where we're headed. There is no security.
Recent Zionist attacks in southern Lebanon and Beirut hint at a broader regional conflict. Despite international warnings, Netanyahu continues his genocidal war, extending beyond Gaza and the West Bank, and even Lebanon, which signals a broader dangerous escalation.
The permanent mission of Lebanon to the United Nations announced it has filed a complaint with the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and the Security Council against occupying Israel. The complaint states that Israeli aggression violates Lebanon's sovereignty and the year 2000 withdrawal line. Lebanon urged the Security Council to condemn the ground invasion, enforce Resolution 1701, and ensure the withdrawal from occupied territories while respecting Lebanon's sovereignty and borders. The Arab League expressed solidarity with Lebanon and warned of the dangers of a regional war. In an emergency meeting in Cairo, Assistant Secretary General Hussam Zeki stated that the attacks on Lebanon could lead to prolonged conflicts. He emphasized that a diplomatic path exists under Resolution 1701, but criticized the occupation for opting for violence instead. Syrian media reported that Zionist airstrikes occurred near Damascus on Thursday afternoon. The official news agency Sana noted explosions in the western countryside, while sources indicated that a Zionist drone targeted the Damasia 4 area. Reports also stated that Syrian anti-aircraft systems attempted to intercept drones in the Shibani rural area in Damascus. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baqai condemned the G7 statement attributing regional destabilization to interference from non-regional parties like the United States. He reaffirmed Iran's commitment to national security and denounced sanctions, stating that Iran's missile operations against Israeli occupation military targets are part of its right to legitimate defense. The Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif, congratulated Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune on his re-election for a second term. In a statement from the Algerian presidency, Sharif expressed his hopes for continued collaboration and intensive cooperation to strengthen ties between Pakistan and Algeria in all areas of mutual interests, particularly in trade and investment. Kazakh President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev congratulated Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune on his re-election for a second term. In a statement, Tokayev praised Tebboune's contributions to Algeria's development and expressed satisfaction with the strengthening ties between Kazakhstan and Algeria, highlighting that their partnership will continue to grow for the benefit of both nations. Chief of Staff of the People's National Army General Said Shangriha met with Italian Minister of Defense Vito Crosetto and Admiral Giuseppe Cavadragoni, the Italian Chief of Defense. They praised the strong bilateral military cooperation and discussed advancing their partnership to a comprehensive strategic level. General Shangriha also visited the Italian military company Leonardo and Fincantieri, where he learned about the history of the naval partnership between Algeria and Italy. The Algerian Ministry of Defense announced that the Chief of Staff of the Algerian Army visited the Inter-Army Operations Command headquarters to discuss military cooperation with Italian officials. General Shangriha expressed confidence in advancing their strategic partnership and emphasized expanding discussions to include military delegations from both countries to enhance regional security. Today, Staffan de Mistura, the UN Secretary General personal envoy for Western Sahara, visited Sahara refugee camps, marking the start of his visit to Sahrawi side. According to the Saharan news agency, his meetings with the Sahara officials reaffirmed the people's commitment to their right to self-determination, freedom, and independence. This visit also serves as preparation for his briefing to the UN Security Council on October 16th. Voting for the presidential elections of Tunisia community abroad begins today, Friday, and will continue until elections in Tunisia on Sunday, October 6, 2024. The Tunisian Elections Authority reports that registered voters abroad make up 6.6% of the total. These voters, located in 48 countries, will cast their ballots at 363 polling stations, including 439 offices. The Tunisian Independent High Authority for Elections announced that almost 5,000 centers and 10,000 polling stations have been prepared in Tunisia and abroad in anticipation of the presidential elections scheduled for Sunday, October 6th.
For us, as the election authority, our primary goal and duty is to grant this right to Tunisian voters domestically. This is guaranteed, considering that we have almost 10,000 polling stations and 5,000 polling centers within the country. Besides, electoral process has been organized in nearly 59 countries across 5 continents, including 10 countries where elections will be held for the first time since 2011. This requires significant logistical and organizational means to equip more than 400 polling stations to be set up in Arab, African and foreign countries, which is a major challenge for the election authority.
Moving on to another matter now, the Ukrainian Air Force reported shooting down 78 out of 105 drones involved in a significant overnight Russian attack on 15 Ukrainian regions. This assault caused damage to commercial and residential buildings. In Kiev, authorities stated that the Air Force downed approximately 15 drones over the city and its suburbs during an air alert that lasted over 5 hours. Still with the Russia-Ukraine file, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed his desire to persuade Western allies to intercept Russian missiles and drones targeting Ukraine, despite their hesitations. During a meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte in Kiev, he acknowledged the challenges of this decision, but stressed his commitment to convincing his partners.
We definitely want Ukraine not to be forgotten, but the best option not to forget about Ukraine is to respond with weapons, to give the appropriate permission, it seems to me, and to help shoot down the enemy drones. By the way, the same Iranian missiles or drones shoot them down in the same way as they shoot them down in the sky of Israel.
For more news stories making headlines around the globe, let's follow this report by Nabil Khazini.
Congolese authorities said at least 78 people died when an overcrowded boat carrying 278 passengers capsized off Lake Kivu in eastern Congo on Thursday. The local governor of South Kivu province said the death toll was provisional and the number of fatalities could rise. According to witnesses, the boat, overloaded with passengers, sank while trying to dock just meters away from the port of Kituku outside Goma. 2 people were killed after Typhoon Krathon slammed into southwestern Taiwan. Several other people are missing. More than 120 are injured after the storm made landfall in Kaohsiung. Authorities in Taiwan called on people to stay indoors. The Central Weather Administration said Thursday that Typhoon Krathon is now the first storm on record to make landfall in Kaohsiung in the month of October. Plastic waste from the fishing industry along the Valdez Peninsula in Argentina's Patagonia is threatening the lives of several sea animals and endangering human health. The coasts of the peninsula on Argentina's Atlantic coast, declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO for its natural beauty, have been dotted with waste thrown into the sea and washed ashore. Scientists warn the amount of plastic waste flowing into oceans and choking marine life could triple in the next 20 years. FIFA said its disciplinary committee will be asked to look into allegations of discrimination raised by the Palestinian Football Association after it submitted a proposal to suspend the occupation authority in May. 2 new investigations were announced at a meeting of the FIFA Council in Zurich on Thursday.
Moving on to sports now, Coach Vladimir Petkovic announced the Algerian national team roster for the October training camp, featuring the first call-up for Hertha Berlin's Ibrahim Maza and the return of players like Badruddin Bouannani and Ahmed Touba. Coach Petkovic confirmed that Youssef Attal will miss the camp due to injury. The Greens will face Togo in 2 matches, the first on October 10 in Algeria and the second on October 14 in Togo, as part of the 2025 CAN qualifiers.
Sicuramente vi chiedete di portieri, Mandrea.
I have talked to the goalkeeper Anthony Mandrea. Due to some family issues, he won't be present at this next camp. As for the absence of the other goalkeeper, Alexander Okija, this is due to a lack in his physical preparedness. He is ready for 60%, and I prefer to select players when they are 100% ready.
That's the end of our news program for tonight. Dear viewers, you can always check our social media platforms for more updates. From me and the rest of the team of All 24 News, thank you for tuning in and take care.